Hi, it's Pastor Misha. I'm here with you at Conversations at 7 a.m. I'm so excited that you've joined us, whether it's this morning on Sunday or it's on the replay. But whatever time you've caught us, I'm glad you're here. Why don't you share this with your friends and invite them to join you in this conversation? Please use the chat so that if you want to share some comments or if you want to put some emojis in there, whatever you need to do to connect, go ahead and do that. And I'm so excited that on last week, I was able to spend time with Dr. Joseph Webb, CEO of Nashville General Hospital, as he shared with us ways that we can take care of ourselves and be intentional about taking care of God's temple. Nashville General Hospital, Nashville Healthcare Center, and CHIN afford resources. They provide them for us. And it doesn't matter your social economic status. So if you need the services or you know someone else, don't forget about Nashville General Hospital, Nashville Healthcare Center, and the Congregational Health and Education Network, CHIN, for all the things that they're doing in this community. Listen, I'm so excited because this is Women's History Month. Now, last month we celebrated Black History Month. This month we get to celebrate women's history, an opportunity for us to bring awareness of women who have done great things. So as you stroll and scroll through your day, make sure that you salute a woman that's made an impact. And everybody should know one woman that's done something good for them, because all of us had to have a woman to get us to where we are today, because we wouldn't be on this earth. So God, woman, and man. But thank God for the mothers, spiritual mothers, surrogate mothers, godmothers, adopted mothers, whatever it was that allowed for us to be here. So woo-hoo to Women's History Month. Now listen, let's break the bread of life open today. We're going to go to Deuteronomy 8 and 18, because I want to make sure that as we are making history or celebrating historical moments for women, that we're making historical moves for ourselves. We need to be intentional when we are making moves in society. Every day when you get up and you give God thanks for allowing for you to see another day, for giving you the breath of life, and you ask him to bless your life, when he does that, he gives you brand new mercies. You owe it to him to make historical moves. We need to be making history, making moves, and be intentional about it. Deuteronomy 8:18 says, "But remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth and so confirms his covenant, which he swore to your ancestors as it is today." God is the one who has given us the ability to get wealth. We cannot forget about God. It is so funny to me that when you talk to the average person and they're out there and they're discussing and you ask them, how did you make it? Like, how did you arrive? How were you able to invest in businesses, or how were you able to obtain property, or how were you able to be successful? How did you get into the C-suite, or how did you make it to the boards? And so many times people want to give you this laundry list and they forget God. Listen, you cannot throw shade on God. Do not forget God. God is the originator. God is the one who has laid the foundation. God is the one who has granted you the access. He's the one who has given you your intellect. So yes, you may have put forth some effort and some energy, but you weren't able to do it without God. So the first thing I need to encourage you, and this scripture says, is please don't forget God. God gives you the breath of life, and we need to always give him praise. We need to always worship him. We need to always recognize him, and we need to always make sure that he's in the formula for everything that we do. Don't forget God. Don't be trying to throw God over to the side pocket. You need to keep him in your life. You need to keep him as the head of your life. A lot of people see my life and they say, "Miss, you're so busy. You're doing this, you're doing that." Let me tell you something. I seek the Father before I do anything. I talk to him first. I say, God, should I be making these moves? Should I be in these positions? And so the Bible tells us, seek first ye the kingdom of heaven and all of those things about him, and then he will add those things into your life. So you seek first the kingdom of God, and then he's going to add everything to you. But the first key thing is you've got to seek him. You've got to keep him in the forefront. You've got to keep him involved in your life. That's the one that we trust. We don't trust ourselves. We don't lean into our own understanding. But in all our ways, we acknowledge him. He promises us that he will direct our paths. So that's the first thing. Make sure that you remember the Lord your God. Keep him in the equation. It is God who gives us the power to get wealth or the ability to produce wealth. He gives us the access. He's the one that puts you in positions. He's the one that puts your name out there. Folk don't even know you. And then all of a sudden you're getting these calls or people are singing your praises and you don't even know it. But it's God that drops your name in their spirit. That's why you can't forget him. And let me just say this to you. When he gives you access, it's access to wealth. So many people talking about the bag. People talking about, I didn't want to get the money. Let me tell you something. You can have the money. I want the wealth because the wealth is a mindset. The wealth is in your head, your heart, your gut. The wealth is how you think, the conversations that you have, the people that you're hanging out with. See, wealthy folks hang out with wealthy folks. That doesn't mean that you got all the money in the bank, but that means that you have the right perspective. I'm telling you now, there's so many believers that are living beneath their God-given means because they don't understand that God's already granted you access to everything that you need. Think about this. Have you ever laid in your bed? When I just got home the other day from traveling and I was tired. I was so tired. I hadn't eaten dinner and I was so tired that I went in, I took my shower and I got in the bed. And though I was tired, I was hungry, I wanted something to eat, but I was too tired to get up and get something to eat. I had access. I got food in the house. I could have prepared something. I could have eaten something. But because I did not get up and move towards the resources or the sources that would have hit that crave, that would have hit that space and that place in me, that would have just allowed for me, I went to sleep hungry. And some of us are like that. We're sleeping through life hungry for that which God has provided for us, hungry for our purpose, hungry for those things, those blessings, hungry for those promises, because we did not access them. We did not use that power that God has given to us to go out and access what God has for us. He's granted you access to put your hands on everything you need to be successful. Think about it. If you are not living at the potential, then you need to check yourself. You need to check what you're doing with your power. You need to check, do you really have your purpose in mind and in your heart? Are you really sure about what God has purpose for you? And if you don't, because I've had people tell me that, I really don't know what my purpose is. What makes your heart beat? What makes your heart tick? What makes you excited? What taps into that passion that you have? That passion is tied to your purpose. So anytime that I'm out ministering, even right now when I'm talking to you, even though I may not be face to face with you, but as I'm talking to you and I know it's hitting you and I know that it's clicking with you, there's something that's in me that begins to fuel. It begins to put a fire down on the inside of me. And I know I've tapped into my purpose. So behold, I've given you power to get wealth, access to your purpose, wealth mentally, wealth physically, wealth spiritually, wealth financially. I've given you access so that you can have the things that you need to be successful. I need you to let that sit with you. I need you to let that sink in. I need you to let that resonate. Think about this. What's stopping me from getting to what I need? Like I just told you, I went to sleep because I was too tired. What's stopping you from getting what you need? Put it in the chat. Just kind of have a conversation with me. What's stopping you from getting to what you need? And then once you have realized to whatever it is, I'm too tired. I don't think high enough of myself. I don't think God wants to bless me. I'm shameful. I'm having guilt feelings, whatever those things are. I want to challenge you right now to get rid of them. How do you get rid of them? Write them down and then turn them over to God and say, God, you know what? I've been living beneath my God-given needs, my God-given means, because I just didn't think that I deserved it. But I know that you have promised me in your word that I am the apple of your eye, that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. So God, when you remind me of your word and you tell me who I am, that I'm an heir and joint heir with Christ, that I deserve it because you've given me the power to get it. I'm going to get that wealth. Now, once you write it down, you turn it over to God. Woo! Okay, then allow for his spirit and his power just to saturate yours, and then find yourself pursuing that what God has given to you. It's time to make some history making moves. So as we shouldn't be just moving out here, but let's move intentionally and on purpose. Okay, so but remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth and so confirms it, his covenant. This is important. We don't just get wealth so that we can throw our chest out. We can boast. Man, look what I got. It's showing up on the Insta face. You know, that's just being funny. We know it's the Instagram, Facebook, but on the Insta face, you just out there want everybody to know you taking pictures and I'm over here with this person, that person, and woo-woo, look at me. No, it's not about you. God gives us wealth so we can establish his covenant. What does that mean, Pastor Misha? I'm glad you asked. So that we can testify about our relationship with him, that we can testify about the covenant that he's made with us, and we'll get to this in a minute, and our forefathers, that we can testify about all the things that he's done for us. He's given us power to get wealth so that we can show other people that this is how it's done. Because I belong to him, he takes care of me. Because I'm his child, he takes care of me. He makes sure that all of my needs are supplied. He makes sure that he gives me the desires of my heart. He makes sure that, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, that I don't have to fear no evil, for his rod and his staff is with me. He makes sure that I'm taken care of. He makes sure that when I'm sick, that he heals me. He makes sure that when I'm depleted, that he fills me. He makes sure that whatever I need, that he's stepping out and supplying that need. He makes sure that when I'm abased or when I'm abound, it doesn't matter what status that I'm in, that he's always present with me. He makes sure that he's pushing me so that I am pushing past those pain points and then I'm achieving and doing the things that he's called for me to do. He makes sure that I have a seat at the table and I'm not on the menu. He makes sure that I'm getting those looks and those opportunities. He makes sure that whatever I'm doing, that people are seeing him. And listen to this. Then when they see him in us, he gets the glory. It's not about us. And that's what he wants to understand. I put money in your hands so people will know that you have a God that takes care of you. I put possessions in your hands so that people will know that I'm the God of the possessions. He allows for promises to come to pass so that people will know I'm the promise maker and I'm the promise keeper. He puts blessings in our hands so that people will know I'm the one who blesses you. I'm the one that keeps you. I'm the one who sustains you. Don't ever get it twisted. It ain't about you, but it's always about God. And I'm the one who will make things happen for you. I'm the God who has the cattle on 1,000 hills and it belongs to me. But I don't have a problem with you having access to the cattle. I don't have a problem with you enjoying the steaks if you want it. I don't have a problem with you eating from the seas and from the waters. I'll make sure that the fish are in your hand. I'm the one who makes sure that that happens. So when I bless you, it's to establish your covenant in this earth. It's for you to establish your covenant and allow for people to know who God is and who God is in you. Here's this last part, which he swore to your ancestors as it is today. God's the same God of yesterday, today, and forever. The same one who took care of your ancestors. You know, again, we just celebrated Black History Month, and many of us understand Black history is American history. Black history actually is world history. It's world history, not just American history, but world history. He's taking care of our ancestors. He's the one who sustained them through all of the trials and the tribulations, the highs and the lows. And the same God that sustained them is the same God that will keep us, that will sustain us, that will make sure that we have it. So when we read in the Bible about all of the miracles that he has worked, that he's wrought for people, for the Hebrew boys, Daniel in the lion's den, that he kept Jonah, even though Jonah acted up, he still sustained him and kept him. That he took care of Paul and those people who were in the boat when the boat hit the winds and the waves and it was broken and they were able to make it to the other side on some boat boards or the boards that were made up, the boards, the planks. He allowed for them to make it. He's the same God to sustain us. When Peter needed to pay his taxes and Jesus told him to go down to the water and get the coins out of the fish's mouth, he's the same God to sustain us. The one who fed the 5,000 with the 2 fish and the 5 barley loaves, that's the kind of God that we serve. Those are our ancestors. He wants us to understand this, that just as he took care of them, he'll take care of us. Even if you don't remember what God's done for you, remember what he's done for your mother, your father, your grandmother, your grandfather. Remember what he's done for the church mothers. Remember what he's done for those persons who's come before you. We stand on the shoulders of those who trusted God. We stand on the shoulders of those who put their all in all in him. They may not have been able to afford to go to the doctors. We talked about that last week. They may not have been able to afford to go to them. Maybe they didn't have insurance, but they knew how to pray. They knew how to get a prayer through. They believed that the effectual fervent prayers of a righteous man, it avails much, and they trusted him. And the same way that they trusted God, we need to trust him today. So I'm going to say this to you again. Remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth. Wealth is more than money. It's more than money in the bank. It's that mindset I talked to you about, to produce a wealthy lifestyle, life choices, life discipline, to produce wealth. And we're doing it to establish his covenant in this earth so other people will see God and glorify the Father and ask you, hey, how can I get connected? How can I hang out with you? How can I live the lifestyle that you live? Remember to tell them it's God. It's the same God that took care of mama and them, daddy and them, is the same God that's taking care of you and I today. And that's what we do. And when we know that it's God that's taking care of us, we can make history-making moves. What does that look like? That means you stepping out on faith, no fear. That means you stepping heavy, now walking light. That means that you're marching like the children of Israel did when they marched around the walls of Jericho. They marched with authority and with power because they knew that they were backed by God. When you know that God has paved the way, has taken care of everything, then you walk with authority like they did. You march around those walls. You march around those circumstances and situations in your life. Oh, yeah. If that's hitting right there with you, why don't you put in a marching emoji in the chat right now? Say, I'm marching. I'm making history, making moves. I'm stepping heavy. I'm making footprints towards God. I'm making faith footprints in the sand. I'm making faith footprints in my life. I'm making faith footprints on the sidewalks. I'm making faith footprints as I move towards the promises and the purpose in my life that God has for me. I'm marching in God's authority. I'm making things happen. I'm making history-making moves. And let me just tell you this. As you make those history-making moves, somebody else is going to read your testimony. Somebody else is going to read your life. It may be your children, your grandchildren, maybe your neighbor. Maybe it's somebody that just sees you at the grocery store. But whoever it is, they're looking at you and they're wanting to know, hey, how are they getting this done? What they doing? How are they making this happen? And you can always tell them it was nobody but God. And that's what I love about him. It's nobody but him. In my own way, I can't do it. But with him, all things are possible. And with him, I can do all things. And I can do it well. Now, listen, I thank you so much for joining us today. And as you hang out with us today, just know at 7:45, 1 hour of power is about to come on these same platforms at Cathedral Praise in Nashville. You can come to us in person or you can catch us on our social media platforms. The location is right there for you so that you know in Nashville, Tennessee, 7:45 and 10 a.m. You don't want to miss the service. It has been impacting at Cathedral of Praise. We've been having a high time in the Lord. We've seen souls saved. We've been seeing miracles happen. We've been seeing people's lives change. And so you want to be a part of the change maker. You want to be a history making move. And one of the moves you can do is come to church. I'm inviting you to be my guest at Cathedral Praise Nashville, 7:45, 10 a.m. And then if you're joining us at our sister location in Memphis, Tennessee, you too can catch it there at 10 a.m. on our social media platforms or at 191 West Shelby Drive, Memphis, Tennessee. That's in Memphis, 191 West Shelby Drive, 10 a.m. Catch us there. Things are happening in both locations, and we are excited about what God is doing. Listen, as we continue to celebrate Women's History Making Month, and I want you just to celebrate a woman today, pick up the phone and call somebody and just say, thank you for being in my life. Or just send them a text and say, hey, you know what? I admire you. Thank you for all that you do. Just a little compliment goes a long way. Now, listen, I look forward to seeing you all on next Sunday, the same time, if you caught me at 7 or on the replay. I look forward to seeing you again. Remember this, that your voice is powerful and your voice is valuable. You go out and speak light into every situation and watch God honor your word. Until then, we'll see you. Bye-bye.